Hello everyone, and welcome back to the finale of Let's Play Magic Knight Rayearth. Second Saturn version is done, but we still have final business to do in the Super Nintendo version. After the point of no return prompt, you enter the mirror maze. A bunch of mirrors pretty much guarding invisible paths that you have to get through. And once you get to the other side, Innova is going to be waiting for you. Weirdly enough, in the Super Nintendo version, you never meet him until this point. Even though you do see him a couple times in terms of the Zot and Innova scenes at the castle. But his fight plays out a little bit differently because you do fight him head-on in terms of his human form. He's a little bit slightly difficult, but you do have Refarga for you for this fight, so it's a little bit easy. And he does pretty much only have two attacks. Just the physical, which is his light attack that doesn't really do much damage. But if he starts to spam the attack that does damage to all party members, you're going to have a little bit of a tough time. Otherwise, he's pretty easy. But of course, that's not all to him. He's just going to relinquish his human form and turn into a beast. However, this beast is a little bit different because it's just a Kelvaroth. If you remember from the final Alcyone fight of this version, she summons two of these things, so it's like summoning two Innovas? I guess there's more than one gatekeeper, I suppose, and Innova's just special. Otherwise, in terms of the Kelvaroth, there's nothing different to this one being Innova. So it's just pretty much fighting like a regular enemy. Just with the good boss music. Just wreck it. I guess it's a tiny bit more powerful than Innova is, but it's highly negligible. Duck! It's gonna poof at us! Apparently it just doesn't die, it just disappears. But that's it for Innova. And with that, that's also the end of the Mirror Maze. And with the end of the Mirror Maze, we now are able to invade Zot's castle. I'm gonna keep screwing it up by saying Zagato, but I kinda want to keep at least consistency here. However, the three don't want Refarga to go with them, which I guess makes sense. Zot is their target, and Refarga has done his part. So, for the final dungeon, it's just going to be the three girls. That's it. And you get one more shot of them as the Magic Knights, just kind of posing. Like, yeah, we got cool armor. So now we move on. Once you exit the Mirror Maze, you actually go to the front gates of Zot's castle, and that's when you fight Alcyone. So now we are in Zot's castle. Or in Zot's castle, because Emerald's castle is completely different in this game. Awesome music! I love it a lot, but I hate this dungeon. Oh, I hate it so much. First off, there's some places that you think you are able to go into, but you can't. Because of, grid. You can only go through squares. Also, with these last two dungeons, encounter rates kind of spike. You'll just kind of go through just steps and steps of getting into fight after fight. And yes, the fights are tough, but they're annoying almost. Pretty much the game is expecting you to gain at least 15 to 20 levels before you actually reach this point of the dungeon, where you finally meet Zot. I am Zagato. Welcome to my castle. I like that he just shuffles. Shuffle, shuffle. I will defeat you. So we fight Zot and his weird claw hand. Zot is not that difficult. There's definitely a weird difficulty leap in terms of this game being a little bit easy by the end. He does have a couple of interesting attacks where he does his hand and does evil magic. However, well, you can see that his physical attack does 1 damage to me. I think I'm only like level 53 or so at this point too, so I'm not even close to the level 99 cap. So they're really not expecting you to be that difficult. In fact, if you go through just Zot's castle and grind, the regular enemies are able to take you out a lot easier than Zot is. He's crouching. Oh, but wait! I get knocked down, but I get up again. And he uses Lexus, which he totally didn't use in the fight. Get up, you. I'm not done. You're not done either. Push him. All we can do is our best. And again, we're back to this question. As he summons Diablo, Lord of Terror! He's a flash of light that just kind of pokes you. But with this dialogue, it's a little bit different because, well, he kind of says about the pillar system is that the pillar has no freedom, is not able to do anything other than pray for the well-being of Sephiroth. And then he summons his machine. Because in one of the dire entries, his will was strong enough in order to create a machine himself. He was going to protect Emerald no matter what. That allowed him to make this big machine. Listen to this music though, it's great. Anyway, you can kind of see that the sprite work for the Zot's machine is pretty much bang on for what the Sega Saturn version is. So I like the consistency between the two. And honestly, with the Super Nintendo music, I'm just going to say now, I kind of prefer some tracks a lot more than the Sega Saturn's. Because this one just goes to town with what it has. His attacks are kind of few and far between, but if he uses that attack where everything goes dark and he shoots purple at you, he can take off a huge chunk of your health. So just make sure that you're keeping yourself topped up at all times. Otherwise, just go nuts with your own attacks. And he'll go down eventually as well. Somehow be free. And then it cuts to Emerald herself. She's able to tell that Zot has died. So their connection was stronger than what was shown in the Sega Saturn. And then she turns into the different self. And her hair goes weird. But we did it! Zot's defeated! That means we just have to go and give Princess Emerald a big hug, right? Not the way that this shows it. It actually has some sort of premonition that we're not done yet, whereas with the Sega Saturn, it was done. We just met and it's just like, you killed him, didn't you? Oh, you suck. Well, here's where this game sucks. Even though we're just going to go and see Emerald, we still can get into random fights. I didn't remember this when I recorded this. So, yeah, I was sour a little bit. Because this dungeon takes a toll on you with just how many random encounters you get into. But you kind of have to do them because, like, the higher your level, honestly, the better you are. And then the victory music keeps going. So, why not? And now we get to see where all of these scenes have been taking in this version. You didn't get to do this with the Sega Saturn. And I do recall Eterna. They're alike. It did take us a while to get here, so maybe she's just grown up a little. Zot bought her new clothes. Hair's going nuts! Dun dun dun! You've given her vengeance. Whoop! Oh man, that tornado out of nowhere. But here's another thing. The machines chime in, which is something that the show does. They do talk to the Magic Knights a lot, in order to actually just kind of get them up to speed with what is going on and just like giving them sagely advice. Right. And so she gets her own machine with the force of will. And again, it looks the same as it does with the Sega Saturn version, although it's a little tinier. And she packs a punch too. Technically, this is supposed to be a fight that you're supposed to lose, but apparently Hikaru had enough health in order to survive, which put me in a weird position where it's like, let's see how long I can go. You are supposed to die. But the weird thing about this fight is that all-hitting attack that she does, just sweeping down the row, she never does it again. I think that was just supposed to be a one-time thing, and if you didn't die, then she just goes straight for physical attacks. Just like as a failsafe. Oh, she did it again. Never mind. Well, yeah, okay. I'll avenge you by killing you and then torturing you. But not killing you. But wait. Here we get a little bit more about Emerald. So the young Emerald is talking to us. The one who pretty much forsake the pillar duty in order to be with Zot. The one who fell in love with Zot. It's nice to see the unexpected villain just kind of show up again and then explain herself. Another thing that it points out is that the pillar cannot harm herself. So, loophole. You are here as amateur assassins in order to take care of the princess. So this is where it kind of gets a little bit confusing, is that you have the Emerald who is wanting you to kill her, but then you have the Emerald who is trying to kill you in order to avenge Zagado's death. Or Zagot's death. I'm gonna keep doing that. But then you get into the whole conundrum again. It's, do you kill the pillar in order to save Emerald and the world still gets destroyed? Or does Emerald's emotions completely go awry and Sephiroth is destroyed anyway? It's more of the princess fighting against herself as well. In the deepest pit of suffering if you're dealing with some sort of schizophrenia, which makes two different versions of yourself. Which leads to the final battle. Just listen to the music a little bit. It's a great track. I honestly love it a lot. But in terms of how to fight Emerald, it's pretty much a very similar strategy. Maybe you want to put Fu in a more defensive position in order to either buff defensively or buff offensively for Hikaru and Umi. And of course, Healing Duty. Using Healing Wind is a lot easier. And Emerald's tactics change a little bit. She has a completely different all-attacking attack. Which is the worst way I could have actually described that. Jesus. But she has just a pillar of light that encompasses the knights, instead of the one that just slashes through them all in a row. So I don't know why they changed that. But soon enough, she will just go down. Luckily our armor leveled up, even though we got no experience, because this is the final boss. Don't know why we get armor level ups. And in the end, technically you didn't save any of it. You didn't save the pillar, and because you didn't save the pillar, you didn't really save Sephiroth. So everything starts to collapse. So what the machines do is get you out of there. Time for a more proper ending compared to the Sega Saturn version, where it's time to get to a safe place. Instead of "you're done, go home." If you're not sure where we are, we're actually in Emerald's castle. We saw a little bit of it because you can see the minister just in the bottom of the screen there. And, well, most people are here. And Fario, thank you for saving my sister. Finally, we get an answer! The Sega Saturn version does not supply us with anything in terms of Fario's connection with the princess, but Fario is Emerald's older brother. The reason for why he doesn't tell us? He doesn't want to really be a prince. He just wants to be, well, himself. He wants to be free from royal ties. Which makes Fu a little bit, well, about it. Always keeping secrets, Fario does. He probably would have got hit in the Sega Saturn version. Hey, I'm not dead. I'm just a ghost parting ways. But now Emerald is able to pray for whatever she wants to instead of for Sephiroth, so she'll pray for Zot. Because she'll be with him. Which is what both of them want. Zot and Emerald. As you can see right there. They can be together. Without the pillar, duties, or anything. And so they leave. So technically we did do a good thing. We did save the pillar. Just not in the way that was obviously intended. And now it is time for this theme to come up. And because we came back and saw Caldina and we saw everybody else, we get more parting words from other characters as well. Oh, by the way, remember back in the Super Nintendo version all the way back at the manor when Haru gave her a piece of candy? We still have one left, and we were gonna give it to her right at the end of the journey. So now that last piece of candy has done its purpose. Except, we didn't bake a cake. There wasn't any room to bake a cake in this version of the game. Umi, come over here. I have the bake cake spell. This would be awesome. Think of the cake and I will create it. And lo, you shall have cake this day. This day of uncertainty for Sephiroth. Shove the cake in Perseus' face. And then she ate it. The end! And don't forget about Makona! Haha! And the minister's just like, I'm here too. Like, I finally have my prince back. Oh wait! Come back! And now for our only shot of Tokyo Tower. We're either really we're really tiny compared to the telescopes. The viewfinders. So we return. But remember everything that did happen? So much did. let's remember that strange land. And that's going to be it for the Super Nintendo version of Magic Knight Rayearth, as well as completing both of the versions of Magic Knight Rayearth. This whole comparison thing was a little harder than I thought it was going to be, just because of the pacing of both of the versions. Because technically, I would say that the Super Nintendo version had better pacing, but it also was a lot emptier. It was a lot I just kind of went over. Because it wasn't all that interesting. And to think I was going to just do this version just clean, and like, no, it's not going to happen. Especially when all of the dungeons just kind of go way too long, and there's just nothing but random battles. So, if anything that doing both of these games at once have taught me is that you do have to cut a lot of corners in order to actually make an LP for an RPG, or there's a lot of random encounters. I kind of remembered that for Star Ocean, but I didn't really do it as well. And this one, well, I did a little bit better, I guess. Just to kind of go through the dungeon and show what needs to be shown, and you get the gist of it. Because if I showed it off completely, it wouldn't have been entertaining. Or even, like, anything to really even stand watching. However, I might as well, with the end of this game, talk about pretty much what continues on after this part of the story is done, because at the end of these games is pretty much the end of Season 1 of the show. There is a Season 2, which is pretty obvious because the girls are sent home, but Sephiroth is still without a pillar. So what happens to Sephiroth now? Because the world is not saved. And I believe there is, in the Super Nintendo version, different dialogue, and I don't know how to actually get it. Which is... yeah, I'm not sure how to get it. Because I'm surprised that Ascot wasn't in the end. And I tried multiple times, and he didn't show up for me. But technically, the world is not saved. So if you're looking to see what actually happens to Sephiroth after this part of the story, I highly recommend that you actually go and watch the show, watch the anime. Season 2 has a lot of just interesting things. New characters, new twists. And by the end of it, it's finally resolved. And it's all great. And it's wonderful. It does kind of fall into the same kind of pacing issues that this storyline kind of went through. So there is going to be a lot of episodes where you think some things are happening, but it's more like just character building that is not really happening all that much. But that's going to be it for the Super Nintendo version. A lot of the music I do like a lot more than the Sega Saturn version, really. Because it's just kind of cooler that way. And other than that, that's going to be it for the finale. There's no more really to show. Other than one last thing back in the Sega Saturn version. Because we did have one item that was going to give us something cool after we finished our mission. And it's kind of good. It's kind of a good reward that we get. Because it kind of shows just how difficult it is to do a certain job when making a video game. Or making something like this, because I constantly trip over myself. But that's going to be it for now. I'm going to take... I don't know how much time I'm going to be off. I'm going to be working things in the background, and when I'm ready to actually put out my new project, my new LP, then that will start. Probably I'll just be posting small updates here and there on social media, my Facebook and Twitter, so look out for little bits like that, but for now, that is going to be it. So, thank you for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. Take care, everyone.